Hi, welcome to this global C.R.E.D presentation. My name is Catherine Ousselin. I'm excited to share with you today many ideas and resources for using social media. I'll see you on the other side of this presentation, but for now, let's get started. Today we're looking at a world of authors at your fingertips, leveling up with authentic resources. A bit more about me. My name again is Catherine Ousselin. I'm a French teacher at Mount Vernon High School in Mount Vernon, Washington. I'm also a world language curriculum design and technology integration coach. I have a lot of great ideas for those two topics on my website at catherine-ousselin.com. And I share a lot of my ideas on Twitter. So at CatherineKU72, please also reach out by email. Let's get connected. So you'll see I have many different professional roles, and that's because I'm a strong believer in being a part of the professional organizations that support us and that allow us to collaborate with colleagues across the world. So as you're going through your professional path, be sure to get connected and start sharing with everyone. Our goals today, we'd like to identify and evaluate authentic social media accounts to follow based on our interests and objectives, so that we can increase our intercultural competencies via popular culture and culturally rich social media. And that's the question. You're probably already following a lot of people on social media, but are you bringing in those authentic social media accounts that are going to help you with your language, your cultural awareness, and your intercultural competencies? It's a great question. What is authres on social media? Authres, that's the hashtag world language teachers use when they mean to say authentic resources. And we can tag that with the hashtag so that we can share more authres with each other. So that's any video, audio, text, or media that is created by native speakers for native speakers. And then we're going to use that to help us get an idea of the products, perspectives, and practices of different cultures around the world. So we're looking at YouTubers and influencers, designers and creators, artists, musicians, and actors, NGOs, foundations, public resources, and so much more. Where do we find these authors? Okay, we're going to look on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and then we're going to use the hashtags that are used in target languages. So if you notice that something is trending, you can follow that hashtag and then look at the different accounts that are using that hashtag. If you are a French teacher or a French learner, I invite you to click on this right here. It says ATF Wakelet, because you will find 325 different accounts that we suggest that you can follow to get more authres. So again, what we're looking at is that video and audio and text that's going to help us develop our language skills. We're going to get more in-depth exposure to language. So if you're listening to videos all the time, or you're reading lots of tweets, you're growing in your language and in your cultural competencies. So let's look at a couple places where we can find this. When we start sharing our ideas together, when you find a great authentic social media account to follow, please give that to your colleagues, your friends, the people in your class, so that we can grow together. So I'm going to show you a few of the many different areas where you can explore to find those accounts to follow. So if we're looking at governmental, that's the big thing. We want to look at cities and regions, political leaders and candidates, ambassadors and embassies. They tweet about their culture, about what's going on locally in their town, and it's a great way to know like what's going on in one specific area. Then NGOs has been very popular with my students because we work with women's empowerment and education and children's rights. So for example, UNESCO tweets in multiple languages, not just English, not just French, but Spanish, Italian, German, Chinese. They're trying to reach out to more people. Okay. Now, if you're a big person into clothing and fashion, you can think of those designer names from the target culture you're exploring. Or maybe you know some clothing stores, you've seen them in your classes, or you've been to them. Models, if you're into looking at different models around the world, check their feed, make sure it's appropriate for you and for your learners. I'm a big fan of the local clothing producers. So we've got those microloans and startups. That's been an empowering experience for my students as well. Tourism and travel, of course. We've got tourism offices that are promoting their areas daily. Their one job is to inform you. So find one of those. Monuments and hotels and resorts. If you're looking at that from the tourist perspective or the local perspective, you're going to gain a lot of inside knowledge. Next is one of my favorites and one of my students' favorites. It's food. Food from local or national chains, food delivery services. How much does it cost to get Uber Eats in a different country? So you've got also country specific products like water or cheeses, soft drinks. It's great to follow Coca-Cola in a different language. They give you so much more insight, like how is it promoted to them? And then massively important are the how-to tutorials on how to cook. There you're going to get a lot of food vocabulary and cooking vocabulary, and it's just amazing to watch how local dishes are prepared by chefs. I'm a big fan of using the schools and education topic because I follow teachers in other countries, and they often show what their students are doing for their school projects, or they want to have a Twitter conversation or a Skype, a mystery Skype with teachers from around the world. It's a great way to connect it with other teachers and teacher bloggers. Media, print, video, audio. So you've got the newspapers, news, TV news, and they do lots of videos that we're going to see either on Facebook or YouTube. Podcasts are amazing to listen to. So podcasters who tweet about the themes or the subjects they're going to be talking about. I'm a big fan of using libraries and bookstores. And if you're into comics or mangas, excuse me, check their feed. Make sure it's appropriate for yourself. So the science and technology area, if you look at the research labs and scientists from around the world, they tweet in multiple languages. And that's been important for our students who want to expand their professional goals, their professional horizons. And so they connect with scientists and inventors and research companies. How do we take our language skills and promote ourselves? Important topic right there. If you're just into the different sports, you can follow athletes and stadiums. I love looking at national parks and safaris, but you always want to make sure that it's humanitarian treatment of animals, please. History buffs, you have so many different war memorials to follow, museums. So you want to go on, beyond the basics because the Louvre is nice, but there are so many more to look at. You have your artists, musicians, and writers. So popular culture cartoonists, what a wonderful way to learn about the perspectives of different cultures. So current musicians and actors, and then children and youth and authors. Authors have been a wonderful way for my students to discover new books and new series. You have your fun culture, of course. You've got your animal fun videos and the humorists and the comedians. And if you're using this as a teacher, just check that feed and make sure it's always appropriate. One last major page of ideas for you. Health and beauty. Of course, you've got your beauty products in your tutorials. Those are important. But what about exercise and yoga and mindfulness in different languages? So you could start your day listening to a yoga exercise routine and increase your language capacities. Again, we really like the leaders and role models for women's rights and education, and then the advocates for climate, human rights, and animal protection. Our generation of learners, you are the people that get things done because you're advocates. So follow other ones and see what they're doing. Businesses are exciting to follow. So if you're looking at different grocery stores, you might think, why would I follow grocery stores? It's the ads they put out. They are quirky and unique. And I'm a big fan of just sitting down and watching 20 or 30 videos from different grocery stores. It's my weekend. It's exciting. So bookstores and malls and family-run stores, of course, like food delivery services, local restaurants. Staying local with your heritage and local, like local eco tours of farms. Since we have that experience in our county where I teach, my students also watch the eco tours of other different places around Francophone countries. So you have the artisans and the keepers of traditions. Again, we're looking at the perspectives and practices. Popular culture icons, absolutely. If you're going to follow something like that, just check to make sure it's appropriate for yourself. I enjoy watching the reality TV and contests and game shows. They're kind of fun, but my favorites are travel and food and fashion bloggers. Always look at other accounts and see what they're following. So let's take a look at what the AATF, the American Association of Teachers of French, has organized, and perhaps some of these will pop some ideas into your head. This is our Wakelet account, and we have a Wakelet collection called Réseaux sociaux francophones qui suivent. And we're saying these are different social media accounts that we have found that will be appropriate for learners and for teachers to follow. And if you look through all the different topics, it's the same one I showed you on our presentation. And so then if you come into this and you find something that you like, let's click on, for example, something from Canada, from the Santé. So Santé Canada, right? And if you're using Twitter, and you do have a Twitter account, you can follow them. If you want to see who else they're following, come down where it says following, and there's followers and following. Click and you can explore their accounts and get some more ideas. If they've made lists, if they've produced some lists of other different topics, you'll find them there. This one hasn't produced any, so I'll show you one in a few seconds. If you keep going down the Wakelet, and you will see the Twitter, the Facebook accounts, all of the Instagram accounts and TikToks, they're there for you. So again, if you're a French language learner, look for this Wakelet. And if you're an Instagrammer, this is one of my favorite accounts to follow. This is from Madi. It's a co-op in Martinique, which is a region in France. It's in the Caribbean. And there we're going to see that idea of products, practices, and perspectives. So what does one picture tell us, or what does one text show us? So if we look at this, we have the idea of food, and we've got dates and numbers and prices. So where we're there, we know the practices and the products. And then there are, there's usually like an Instagram little write-up. You can see what they've done there. I like looking at this one because then you get some of the Creole languages. So they do this both in Creole and in French. And you also can look down and see what are some of the local products, right? Pourquoi consommer des produits locaux? Why do we consume local products? And often on Instagram, you've got little videos that you can watch. And so you're listening and you're looking and you're reading. So much to bring in for your interculturality. So Instagram is great. You can also look at who they're following, and perhaps there's something interesting there to you. Scrolling through, there's this is actually one of my great account, and that is a water resource. So you can look at, this is a local water producer in Martinique. And I love looking at this because there's so much language and experiences that they share on here. So let's look at Twitter. This is the ATF Twitter account. And we follow, I believe, something like 945 different accounts. That's one way to go through and find out who we're following. But another way is, if you're on the website, you can click on these three dots and go to that view list. Here you're going to find groups of accounts that we follow that are thematically organized. So everything that we follow that's in Afrique francophone. So either you can follow the entire list, or you can go through member by member, so account by account, who we're following. And on there, we try and keep these things together so that you don't have to look at all of Twitter, but that you can put these into lists and see specific topics. So one of them, for example, is like Grande Surface. Those are your hypermarkets. We've got magazines and newspapers, museums, different teachers, different restaurants. We try and put that together so that you don't have to explore all of Twitter, because that can be overwhelming. So one more I'm going to show you is our YouTube channel. So the ATF has an actual YouTube channel with about 5,000 videos organized for you. But you can also see the different channels that we follow, that we've subscribed to. If you are following, for example, Polynésie La Première, that's one of my favorite accounts because you're looking at French language in the Polynesian context. So you're getting outside the typical France experience and seeing what else is out there in the Francophone world. Great ways to discover more subscriptions to follow. Okay, so if you go on there, but if you also look at our playlists, they're organized for you if you're a French learner or a French teacher. based on their themes like global challenges and ads, holidays, sports. So we're looking at those products and perspectives. If you're into music, we have all sorts of music from around the Francophone world. So contemporary music, music for kids, music from Quebec, music about families. If you keep going, there's music, songs that are about Paris. And we even have grammar songs organized for you. So French teachers, French learners, please explore that option, because finding just one or two more channels a week, you're going to be introduced to culture and civilization, products, practices, and perspectives once again. It's a great way to improve your listening, which of course leads us to TikTok. TikTok videos are impressive, and I follow ones that are interesting to me. So I have scientists, I have food. McDonald's TikToks are fun in French. Chef Club, and they're teaching you how to cook different things. It's addictive. But you're also getting an insight on how do other cultures promote themselves? How do other people do that? If you're into the travel aspects, I love this one, Paris Explorer, and he takes you to all the different little places that are maybe a little bit more secret in Paris and around France. So that's a lot to look at. Remember, social media, you can do it in small chunks. Don't try to follow everything all at once, but take the time and reflect. Make yourself some notes. What did I hear? What did I see? What are my next questions? And how can I adapt and adopt what I heard, learned, or listened to into my own language capabilities or my own intercultural capacities? What more can I add on to this? Okay, so we've looked at all of those. That's a lot to explore. We've gone through a ton today. So if you have more questions, please connect with me on Twitter or by email. We can meet online. We can meet in person someday, I hope. I wish you bon courage et bonne continuation. À bientôt.